All right, welcome to this explainer of what is honestly a truly chilling Midnight A animated story. Today, we're going to methodically break down a terrifying night at an isolated, fog-drenched railway station. We'll be taking a really close look at how the psychological tension is masterfully constructed here, shifting from just, simple unease all the way to outright survival horror. So maybe turn the lights down for this one and let's get right into it.
Okay, we are diving straight into this mystery with a spine-tingling announcement that essentially springs the trap on our protagonists. I mean, just imagine sitting at an empty station in the dead of night and hearing that echo through the loudspeakers. It's an incredibly effective hook from the source material, and it instantly shifts the whole narrative from boring wait for a late-night train into this inescapable nightmare.
Section 1. Butiapara Junction. The Trap. To really understand how the horror unfolds, we first need to look at the setting itself. Our protagonists, Pawan and Karan, are entirely cut off from the outside world. The station is enveloped by this dense, dark forest, and crucially, they have absolutely zero mobile network, none. And walking out, that means risking wild animals, or honestly worse, in the dark. So, stranded out there, a classic horror dynamic emerges between the two friends. You've got Pawan, who is desperate to maintain rationality. He writes off this sudden, bone-chilling cold as just, the forest air at night. He insists they just stay put and wait for the 2:45 a.m. local train. But Karan is highly intuitive. He is already terrified. He's sensing this unseen presence near them, and he explicitly says he can clearly see death waiting for them out in that forest.
What I love here is that the source material doesn't just throw monsters at you right away. It's a terrifying slow burn. First, they arrive late, find themselves totally stranded. Then, moving into the pre-dawn hours, there's this sudden, completely unnatural drop in temperature. That creeping physical sensation of pure dread. And finally, as we near 2:45 a.m., that eerie station announcement about the Kalchakra train plays out, which completely ratchets up the tension as the clock ticks down. Section 2. The Breathing Dummy, the Uncanny Valley.
So as the two friends wait there, trying to make sense of that bizarre announcement, Karan spots a figure just looking out into the deep fog at the far corner of the station. And when they walk up to it, bathed in that sickly yellow station light, they realize it isn't a living human. It's an old, dirty, lifeless mannequin dressed in a white dhoti, standing completely still in the shadows. But the source text uses this seemingly inanimate object to plant a really deep seed of visceral fear.
Karan makes this horrifying observation that plunges us straight into the uncanny valley. Just as Pawan is trying to brush the mannequin off as, weird but harmless, Karan notices a subtle, impossible movement. The dummy appears to be taking breaths. It's that terrifying space where something is almost human, but distinctly, horribly not.
And then, the text isolates them even further through an intense auditory hallucination. As they step away, a heavy, cold, breathy voice whispers right by their ears, "Go back. Do not board that train." They absolutely freeze. But when they spin around, the dummy hasn't moved an inch. There's literally no one there, just the sound of the wind. This moment is absolutely crucial because it finally strips away Pawan's rationality. He can no longer pretend this is normal. That disembodied voice leaves them both paralyzed with a very real, very present fear.
Section 3. The ghostly TTE appears. The entity. Up until now, the dread has been entirely psychological. But before they even lay eyes on the entity, the narrative utilizes this incredible sensory storytelling. Out of the absolute dead silence of the platform, they hear a distinct, rhythmic sound coming from the dark end of the station. It sounds like someone dragging a single foot across the concrete. This auditory cue immediately signals to both the characters and us, the audience, that whatever is crawling out of that fog is broken, unnatural, and profoundly dangerous.
As this figure actually emerges into the yellow light, we get a terrifying look at the ticket traveling examiner, the TTE. He's this towering figure in a black coat. His face is yellow and just entirely devoid of any expression. His eyes are dead still, and most terrifyingly, they have absolutely zero pupils. He casts no shadow on the platform ground whatsoever, and he's lighting his path with this old iron lantern that glows with a faint red-yellow light. The text uses these specific, horrifying visual cues to confirm, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that whatever this is, it is definitely no human.
Section 4. The Kalachakra train, the point of no return.
We are now hitting the absolute climax of the dread. Pawan, bless him, still trying to cling to some sort of normalcy, actually shows the entity his valid train ticket.
The TTE takes it with a freezing cold, yellow hand, doesn't even glance at it, and just shreds it to pieces right onto the floor. And then he delivers this absolute jump scare of a line. He tells them their ticket is trash and that to travel from this station, they require a black ticket. It's this brilliant narrative device that completely shatters their reality. The normal rules just do not apply anymore.
And literally, right at this moment of pure shock, a train horn blasts. It is exactly 2:45 a.m. But the train that arrives, it is not a rescue. A pitch-black, entirely unlit train violently speeds past the platform without even slowing down. It tears through the fog, disappears, and leaves behind an even more suffocating silence than there was before.
So what is the Kalchakra train? Well, the true horror of the situation reveals itself when the TTE calmly, almost clinically, explains to these terrified friends that the 2:45 train that just sped past was for those whose journeys were currently ongoing. But their train, the one specifically designed to definitively end their life's journey and free them from worldly worries through death, is arriving next. Their fate has basically already been decided for them.
Section 5. Escape to morning light, breaking the trap.
Faced with the very immediate threat of their own demise, the narrative dramatically shifts gears into a chaotic fight for survival. First, Paulhan tries to get a drink of water from a rusty hand pump, but pumping the squealing handle just releases this sickening, overwhelming stench of rotting corpses from deep underground. And right as they're reeling from that smell, the pupilless TTE silently appears right next to them again, announcing that their black tickets have officially been cut and the phantom train is waiting. This triggers pure blind panic. They flee the entity running completely aimlessly into the dark, which accidentally leads them straight to the abandoned and cursed platform number 4, which is a place infamous for mysterious deaths. Somehow, running purely on adrenaline, they manage to navigate away from the cursed platform and finally stumble into a section of the station that actually has, normal people. The story wonderfully releases that immense, suffocating tension as the morning sun begins to rise. You get this incredibly sharp contrast between the claustrophobic, supernatural terror of the night and the bright safety of purchasing real tickets and boarding a crowded, sunlit train that carries them safely back to their village.
So, we wrap up today's explainer with this final thought. While our protagonists physically escaped the Kalchakra train, the source material makes it very clear that the psychological terror, that's permanent. The memory of that expressionless face, the rotting smell, and the knowledge that their black ticket was actually punched leaves us wondering, did they truly escape, or will that night literally haunt them for the rest of their lives? Thank you so much for exploring this chilling tale with me. It really shows just how effective sensory details and the fear of the unknown can be in storytelling.